You're listening to Last Word Radio, where you get the last word.
Welcome to the Fourth Line Podcast, part of the Alberta Podcast Network, powered by ATB. This is January the 13th, 2020. With you today is myself, Carl, and Stevie Nick.
Carl, I was not ready for you to start recording the show. I didn't know you were starting.
Yeah, I could tell by... there was a lot of flashing lights as you frantically move things around your monitors, your face. Do we need to start this again? Are you ready?
No, I'm fine. I was watching a video and the sound was on. So then there was this just foreign voice interrupting my video and I was like, what the heck is going on here? So I had to figure out how to mute the video. But do you want to know what the video was?
I do.
It was a highlight from last week. Pekka Rinne scored his first career NHL goal.
You know what? Congratulations to that kid. You knew that it would come to him eventually. 36 years of age, finally got his first NHL goal.
Yeah, it felt like he was a little snake bit. And it's nice to see him overcome that.
It is one of the true great success stories of our time.
Yeah.
Man, what a goal though. What a moment.
It's pretty sweet. It's just playing on a loop here, so I get to watch it over and over again. But for him to have and I'll break it down because I'm actually watching it right now. He goes behind the net to stop a Blackhawks dump in. So not only does he do that, which is a pretty, standard play for goalies, he settles down the puck and then he gets it off. And it lands perfectly between the blue line of the Blackhawks and their goal line, and it just trickles in. It had some weight to it though. He put a lot behind it.
I would say because we were talking about this throughout the week, how few goalies have scored goals.
Which was shocking to me. I still haven't been able to find that infographic I was talking about that listed them all. I think you said you saw it. But I was shocked at how few goalies have scored goals because I feel like when I was a kid, goalies were scoring goals all the time. But maybe I just saw the same three highlights over and over again.
If this source is correct, and the source is the NHL official Twitter account, so if no one's gonna get it right, then they won't either. We got 12. Billy Smith, Ron Hextall, he scored twice.
Remember Hextalls? Yep.
These are some guys that you're gonna start remembering. There's one in here that I do not remember. Christopher Osgood.
Chris Osgood should be in the Hall of Fame. It's a hill I will die on. Topic for another day.
I was going to say you want to get into a fight? let's talk about that one. We'll that's coming up in the summer. I think next year's summer series, Carl and Nick ruin the show. Just
12 weeks of why Chris Osgood should be in the Hall of Fame.
I just think, every week we pick a topic that the other person strongly disagrees on, and we see if this relationship can handle it.
I think we'll make it. Okay, who else we got?
Damian Rhodes. And I remember this one. This one was against the Devils. And it was one of those, a few of these, where goalie pulled on a delayed penalty, and he was just the last Senator to touch the puck after a missed pass.
Oh, yeah.
So he got one. Jose Theodore, Evgeny Nabokov, Mika Norinen, Chris Mason, also of the Predators, scored one. Cam Ward, Martin Brodeur 3 times, Mike Smith, and now Pekka Rinne. And the last one was 7 years ago, though.
And who was that one, the last one?
Mike Smith. Martin Brodeur also got one that year. But
7 years ago. We've gone 7 years without a goalie goal. Did you even notice?
No, because it's so... you know what, Nick? If you had have asked me how long has it been, I wouldn't have been able to guess.
No, me neither. But I would have been I don't know, sometime last season. I feel like it happens all the time. I don't know why I think that.
You shouldn't.
I should apparently not. I won't anymore.
It has happened in the last decade. It happened 3 times. The decade before that, it happened 5 times. It happened 3 times in the 90s, and only 3 times ever before that.
So new decade now, 2020s. including this one, how many goalie goals do you think we'll have this decade?
Well, here's the thing. I think we're entering into the era of weird goals, right? We got the Michigan happening all the time now.
Yeah.
I'm going to go 7.
Wow. That's a hefty guess based on the history of the goalie goal.
Based on the history, but also because now teams are pulling their goalie way sooner. So there's even more opportunities for goalies to be doing this. They've been missing out.
Yeah, you're right. And as we've seen, this is a copycat league. Now these younger goalies are going to look at this and be like, this is awesome. I have to do this.
Well, I don't know if you saw Dallas Stars, they had a game. I think it might have been after a game or after practice. I think it was after a game. And Anton Khudobin had played. Ben Bishop, so he's talking to the media, and Ben Bishop comes up to him and he's like, hey, did you see Pekka scored? And they just celebrated. Like, they don't care. They just want a goalie to score. So as the brotherhood of goaltenders, they celebrated, which is great.
That's awesome. I hope we see more of it. Do you think goalies practice this frequently?
Absolutely, they do.
I think so too.
I mean, there's a lot of downtime at practices. I'm sure you've seen it happen at like pregame skates.
Yeah.
Yeah. So absolutely, they're practicing it. So
it's awesome.
Well, that's my best of the week. We're talking best and worst. That's my best of the week.
Oh, are we starting off with this?
Why not?
All right. My best of the week is that awesome Connor McDavid goal from last Monday.
You've already broken down one goal for us today. Can you similarly break down? Because again, this is not a video podcast. We're not pulling it up. We're not Tim and Sid here.
So
can you break down the Connor McDavid goal for those who haven't seen it?
So we should be like Tim and Sid, though. We make much better faces. Okay, so this one, I don't have the video in front of me, so I'm going off memory. And as we know, based on last week's Tortorella explanation, my memory's not great. So Connor McDavid buzzing all game. This guy, I think at this point, he had 3 assists already. He was having a phenomenal game. He had never scored in the ACC and the Scotiabank before. So Connor McDavid gets on the ice. He receives a pass around center ice, and he's coming in on Morgan Rielly, the Maple Leafs defenseman. And he does this crazy thing as he crosses the blue line where he kind of slows down and looks behind him as if he's going to make a pass, but there's nobody there. But that look is enough to throw Rielly off, that McDavid just turns the jets on. His legs move. He gets past Rielly, and he basically just dekes out Hutchison and stuffs it in the top corner over his shoulder.
And I think the speed at which he does all of these things is phenomenal.
Yeah. It's amazing. And the way he changes speed too. He slowed down and then sped up to get around Rielly. It was an amazing goal. That's my best of the week.
It's a good one. Is there any truth to the rumor that play, you mentioned he's coming on Morgan Rielly, is that how Morgan Rielly broke his foot? Did Connor McDavid's deke break Morgan Rielly's foot that night?
What a story if it did. I mean, I don't think so, but let's go with it.
I mean, that arguably, not Morgan Rielly. Well, I guess it's half him, but the health of the Toronto Maple Leafs, already weak and sparse defense.
Yeah.
That might be the worst of the week.
That's certainly the worst of the week for the Toronto Maple Leafs.
Absolutely. Jake Muzzin on IR already. Morgan Rielly now out at least 8 weeks with a broken foot. Which was 8 weeks.
Yeah.
That puts him middle of March coming back. He's got a few weeks, if that's true, if that's when he comes back, a couple weeks to get him ready before playoffs. And I think we can safely assume Leafs are going to make it.
Yeah.
After their run of late. And with Tampa's run of late, he'll be ready just in time to play Boston in the first round.
Can't wait.
It's gonna be good.
Yeah.
Well, Nick, lots else has happened in the NHL this week. Before we get to any of that, let's remind everyone of, and it's actually coming up here, we've got about a month left for you to take advantage of this, Marvel universe of superheroes at TELUS World of Science in Edmonton. It ends February 17th. So if you've heard about us talking about this and you say, I need to go see it, do not wait any longer. You have until the Family Day weekend to head up there and do that. What's cool is there's so many things from the movies and comic books, things like that, that you, if you're a fan of, you'll love. So if you're, the series has done, they finished the first, I forget what they called it, the first saga. I'll steal a Star Wars word there. And you're like, I've binge watched it. I've gone and done it. And you can head up there. So you can learn the story of Marvel, its influence on visual culture, and experience a pretty cool soundscape made by composers Lorne Baff and Hans Zimmer. And if you're an audiophile, that'd be a super cool thing to see. If you're from out of town too, there's actually hotel deals as well. So head to telusworldofscienceedmonton.ca to check that out. And no more waiting. This might be the last time we talk about it before it ends. Do not miss out on that. This week was not we've had a lot of firings in the NHL this year.
Yeah, and it started as soon as we hung up last week.
Right. So as soon as, literally before I'd even left the recording studio, Peter Laviolette fired by the Nashville Predators. Were you surprised?
I mean, no, truthfully. I just don't.
I appreciate your honesty.
I just don't agree that they should have fired him.
I guess
sorry, go ahead.
Yeah, it is, with how they've been doing, they certainly not living up to expectations, right?
No. Well, I mean, your goalies have been bad.
Which I guess has been the theme of this season. Either your goalies have been bad or some sort of inappropriate behavior. Those are the two things that'll get you fired in the NHL this year.
100%. Yeah, it's been a rough season, eh?
I believe that was the 7th coach fired this season.
Yeah. Yeah, that's crazy. I've always wished there was a database for this kind of thing because I'd be curious to know when the last time there's been this many. And it's been all in like when did the Leafs fire Babcock? November?
Yeah, at the latest.
Yeah. It's been 3 months. 2.5 months.
Wow, yeah.
7 coaches gone.
Just like that. And so Peter Laviolette made the playoffs with the Predators every year he's been there, right? He joined the team right before 2014-15 season, has made the playoffs with them every year. Won the Western Conference in 2017. Lost in the finals, obviously. But a team that's had incredible success, currently sitting 5th in or at the time he was fired, we're sitting 5th in the Central Division. Certainly an uphill climb ahead of them, but I just look at this and I feel, correct me if I'm wrong, I think you probably feel the same way. What solution is there other than what do you think you can gain from firing him right now that keeping him and working with that system is going to bring? I don't see a whole lot other than just the classic rhetoric of fresh voice in the room.
Right. And you got to wonder, do they need a fresh voice in the room? Do the players need that right now? Or they just got to grind out this tough season that their goalies are having, both of them? Because they're 4 points out of a playoff spot right now.
Easily fixable.
4 points for these guys they're 4 points back from Vegas, who's in the first wild card, or 4 games back from Vegas, who's in the first wild card spot. This could come out in the wash.
Well, they have 4 games in hand over Vegas. Is that what you're saying?
Yeah.
Oh yeah, absolutely.
4 games back. Yeah. What is this, baseball? Yeah, they have 4 games in hand. So yeah, it just feels like a drastic move at a time when the team probably just needs a little stability and to grind through some of their rough edges right now.
Absolutely. The only thing that I think could be an issue is the potential Matt Duchene curse that they've brought upon themselves this year.
Ooh, yeah.
I think they might have to fire him instead. I think they fired the wrong guy. They did.
Yeah. Who's the other guy too? They're having a tough time with Kyle Turris.
I mean, if you talk to Mike Milbury, Ryan Johansson, Matt Duchene, Kyle Turris, they're all chumps. They all got to go, and that's why we don't listen to Mike Milbury.
That's what we say about Mike Milbury.
But so they did rob us of the opportunity to have a player coach in naming John Hines, former, recently fired New Jersey Devils head coach, who also couldn't fix his goaltending situation over there, to come in and fix this situation. Do you think that's a good hire? No.
I don't know what you expect to get out of John Hines. That's going to be more than you're going to get out of Peter Laviolette.
Here's the thing. Here's what I listed off the times Peter Laviolette was in the playoffs. 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6, 7. 6 times he has not made the playoffs in his 18-year career. So that's 2/3 of the time he's made the playoffs as the coach. John Hines, once.
Yeah, I mean, hasn't John Hines only been coaching for like 3 years in the NHL? Was the Devils not his first job?
Yes, but let's not pick holes in my small sample size here. No, he coached 5 years with the Devils.
He coached for 5 years?
Made the playoffs once. In 5 years, he won 1 playoff game with that team.
Yeah. That's not a strong record.
And now he has the chance to rally this team and come back. Certainly, they did score a goalie goal with John Hines there. They also got a shutout last night. Clearly, John Hines, the goalie whisperer.
He's already getting more production out of the goalies than any coach for the Predators has.
Right? Yeah, I haven't seen them scoring under Peter Laviolette or under Bruce Boudreau or anyone.
Yep. So maybe that was the right move to make.
I came in here thinking one thing and I walk out thinking something entirely different.
I think the Predators are going to be fine. They're not a team I'm worried about.
No, because they fire Laviolette, and as I said, at the time of his firing, they were sitting 5th. Even to catch the division, right? You gave the stats of what they need to do to catch Vegas. They're 3 points back of Winnipeg for 4th in that division. Only 6 points back of Colorado. They're going to be fine. And it's not because of John Hines.
Yeah. They're also playing in the toughest division in the league, so.
That's true.
Yeah.
Well, there was another. Let's keep on the whole fire train, which would be the most terrifying of trains, by the way. And this one wasn't, I guess they said mutually agreed upon, but Ray Shero, general manager of the New Jersey Devils, no longer general manager, which is always nice. When you let the guy trade Taylor Hall, 3-4 weeks ago?
Mm-hmm.
Then you're like, you know what, Ray? You're not cutting it. Maybe fire him before you let him trade your best player.
Yeah, I mean, not only that, I think he was actually doing a pretty good job. He got a little lucky. He got a couple first-round picks handed to him, but I don't know, don't fire the guy who seems to be doing good things.
Absolutely.
It wasn't that long ago where we said the Devils won the offseason and they'll be challenging for a playoff spot. That was all Ray Shero. Yeah.
And has shown in the past, obviously, his Penguin days are, I would say, distant behind him, but he's shown in the past that he's able to build a team that can do that. And I mean, it doesn't pay off if you take a gutsy move and you fail at it. But I thought he did, wasn't afraid to make those moves like we saw this summer, right?
Yeah.
When that opportunity happens. So he will be getting another job.
100%.
Absolutely.
Yeah. The question is, who's going to come into the Devils? take that job.
So right now they have both an interim coach and an interim general manager. I'm seeing some eyebrow movement, Nick. What are you thinking?
It's like, what a perfect picture of instability.
Right? Well, here's the good news. They can bring in some stability because one of the people helping interim general manager, and the name's slipping my mind right now of who their interim general manager is. The guy who helped assistant coach earlier this year when John Hines was like,
Tom
maybe
Fitzgerald.
not cutting it. Tom Fitzgerald.
Fitzgerald.
Okay. Tom Fitzgerald. Him, but also Martin Brodeur is going to be helping with some of the movement there. And, when I think of stable, I think of Martin Brodeur.
Well, Carl, he does have 3 career goals.
Is that, if this is the new meta, is to Corey Schneider, you're up next. Louis Domingue, you're up.
I have a question. Do you think that he only has one advisor as the GM?
I would hope not.
Right. So there's multiple advisors. So why did they only name one of them?
Because the rest of them are probably a bunch of stats nerds that no one knows about.
Yeah, I think this is a little bit of a marketing ploy on the Devils side. We're making a lot of changes, but everyone loves Brodeur. Drop his name, say he's involved, and it'll make us look a little better.
And the fans will get excited. They're like, well, we've got to trust Marty.
With Marty at the helm.
He's never led us astray. He's never, anyways, we won't get into that. That can be part of our summer. That's part of our summer series.
Summer series.
Chris, we're just going to go through goalies of the 90s, I think is now.
Let's do it.
Fight about goalies, yeah.
Let's fight about 90s goalies.
One of us could literally fight Dominic Hasek in a roller hockey match if it comes to that. So what do you think that both of these, because we've got 2 interims there, everything's in limbo. Do you think that the interim tag comes off? And much like Craig Berube, does it only come off when they win the Stanley Cup?
If they win the Stanley Cup? No, I don't even think they need to win the Stanley Cup. If this team makes the playoffs, probably both of those interim tags come off.
Make the play. Yeah. They haven't been in the elimination station yet, Nick. But
no, I know I've been staving it off.
You know what? We might get a preview this week of our summer fight series because we'll see. We'll get there. We've got a lot, and you already know that I'm upset about something. I've been stewing on something since 7 a.m. this morning.
Yeah, I love it.
All right, let's get to speaking of people upset. Zack Kassian and Matthew Tkachuk had a couple run-ins the other night.
Whoa, and then another one through the press.
It's true, with words that we choose not to repeat on this show.
No.
Which part stands out to you the most? The on or off ice?
The on ice, for sure.
Okay, so Zack Kassian, just before we started recording, thanks to the Department of Player Safety for breaking news before we record, unlike front offices that fire people right afterwards, Zack Kassian suspended 2 games for his part in this.
That's it, eh?
2 games, yeah. I think that's a fine number.
I don't know. It was such a goony thing to do. Did you think the Tkachuk hit was dirty?
Absolutely. There is zero reason. Now, okay, I guess because there's multiple hits, there is zero reason that if the NHL were to actually call the rules by the rules, that was not a penalty. The first hit. That was absolutely a charge. He skated about halfway across the ice to hit him. If that's not a charge, because a charge is more than 4 strides
into
a guy?
3, to be honest with you.
So more than 3. And
yeah, I think so.
He absolutely did more than that. He had no intent of doing anything other than hitting Kassian at that point in time. And then did it again. So yes, I do not think that what Zack Kassian did was proper, right?
Mhm.
But you have Matthew Tkachuk running around the ice like an idiot, hitting people with like literally the only intent of his skating at that point in time was to hit him from a distance at speed. Nothing's getting called. Of course, Zack Kassian's going to get upset about it. And of course, Matthew Tkachuk's going to ragdoll and not want to fight back because that's what he does. He pokes the bear and he runs away. He does the same thing with Drew Doughty and he just keeps poking the bear. And of course, he's going to take it into the media because that's his safe spot. He can't do anything, right? Zack Kassian's not going to come break into the scrum and start beating them. He can say whatever he wants from the other dressing room and be completely fine about it.
Oh, you are fired up today.
And that's not even the thing I've been stewing on since 7 a.m.
Okay, yeah. You've convinced me. I mean, yeah, if the refs aren't going to call the game, I think someone like Zack Kassian, who plays in more of an old school style, lives by the code, quote unquote, the code, he's going to take it into his own hands. And he did that.
Now, to be fair, Matthew Tkachuk is quite possibly my least favorite player in the National Hockey League right now. And so it's hard. Oh, absolutely. I cannot.
I have no idea.
Yeah, right. I hide it so well. So like it might be hard for me to have an unbiased opinion, but like somehow I feel like the only person out there that outside of Edmonton that's like pro Zack Kassian in this situation. But it's just because Tkachuk does these things all the time.
Well, he's a pest, right?
Absolutely.
He's kind of Corey Perry-ish.
Yes. Except Corey Perry now gets kicked out of games because he's not a star anymore. So, I don't know. So I've changed your mind. Where do you stand on this now then?
I mean, I still think it's not a lot for someone like Zack Kassian who has a history. And if they want to discourage things like that, I don't think 2 games is enough for what he did. But he did get penalized on the play as well, right? On the ice.
Correct. I believe he got 5 in a game.
Yeah.
He for sure got 10, like the misconduct. So
yeah. So I'm sure they took that into consideration too, that it's more like 3 games since he got kicked out of that one game.
Right. Yeah, I mean, certainly Zack Kassian should have been penalized for what he did. He did take it a little too far, but it also was made much worse by the fact that like if in any other situation, if the player in question had have fought back, which comes across as a little victim blamey to be like, well, fight back and it wouldn't have been so bad. But in a situation where Tkachuk usually would have, which I believe is what Kassian assumed,
right,
it would not have looked nearly as bad. He would not have been kicked out of the game. But the fact that Tkachuk didn't, and again, he has every right to not, but if you're going to skate around the ice and be reckless with other people's health in the same way, you have to expect that people aren't going to show you that same respect.
Yeah, so do you think he's playing with fire a little bit, the way he plays and taunts and...
Oh, absolutely. I mean, yeah. we saw it that night, right? Like, he plays fast and loose with the rules. He skirts the edge. People are going to get upset about it.
Yeah. He's going to have to... There's going to be a point where I think he's going to have to defend himself a little. Yeah.
We've seen it in the Drew Doughty feud that he started there. We'll just see which team is next. Who's he gonna upset next? That's the real question.
Yeah.
Nonetheless, this 2-game suspension does get Zack Kassian back in time for the next Flames-Oilers game. So that'll be nice.
The Battle of Alberta is red hot again.
Absolutely. Well, Nick, the NHL made an announcement this week. The final 4 players were announced for the All-Star game. And luckily for Mr. Dylan Larkin, he did not make it. The fans listened and they sent him on vacation. we've got David Perron, TJ Oshie, Mitchell Marner, and Quinn Hughes as the 4 players sent to the All-Star game. You happy with these?
Sure. I don't know. Another announcement about the All-Star game. They're all pretty safe picks for the league. Like, I don't know. It's fine.
Well, and these were fan voted, right? They did the last man in vote, which is why D-Boss was asked people not to vote for him. And I don't know, like, sure, Mitch Marner, he's good. TJ Oshie, lifelong Capitals fan, not lifelong, long time quality player on the Capitals.
Yeah.
I mean, David Perron.
Having a great season.
Just won a Stanley Cup. And Quinn Hughes, his brother was picked first overall. Sorry, let me rephrase that. Second best rookie defenseman in the NHL this year. How does that sound?
Hey,
that sound better?
There you go. Crazy that the first best one didn't get in, eh?
You know what? It's regional biases. That's all it is, Nick. I mean, like, how is David Perron? The Blues are hosting the All-Star game. You know that ballot box is getting stuffed with votes for him. Obviously, he was going to be the one making it. If Cale Makar could have beat him, that would have been fantastic. But when you host it, things magically happen.
Yep.
We've got... What are we going to say?
I just said that's it. That's all I have to say on that topic.
Well, I've dragged this out long enough. The problem that I still have, Nick, is that sure, these players, unlike Dylan Larkin and unlike other players like Alexander Ovechkin, made a point. I have never cared so little about the All-Star game as I do now. And usually it's because I'm upset at the league. I'm like, you give us a trash product, right? And we talked, what, 2 weeks ago? Last week?
Probably last week, yeah.
Was that? Yeah, last week. We talked last week about them naming the rosters and how, the format with the 3-on-3s, they're now doing a 3-on-3 Canada versus US women, which will be a fun one to watch as well. However, my issue is no longer with the league. And I think as we get to like this new CBA era, and them coming to this agreement, I might see more of this, but I've moved from the league to the players as my issue.
Oh, go on.
I'm sick. I'm sick and tired, Nick, of these players not showing up. And the fact that you get your 1-game suspension, it's irrelevant. It hasn't stopped anyone ever from doing it. Yep. Everyone's like, well, it's 1 of 81. You're going to miss one. I get an extra little bit. I can extend my vacation by a couple extra days. It's great for me. But now, like, the amount of players who aren't going, who are asking not to go, it's the freaking All-Star game. Like, this is a thing that is honoring the players who are the best, who are the fans' favorites, right? Especially those who are voted in. Right? Like, we've got these last players in voted in. The captains are voted in. These are the ones you've been chosen. This is an honor. And you can't even bother to show up for a couple days of fun. Like, let's not pretend that you're not still going out for drinks after these events are happening. It's not a work function that you're at. You've got to go. You've got to play some hockey. Like, what was it? Who showed up? Was it Ovechkin showed up to the fantasy draft with a beer?
Yeah.
You're not working. If I can't show up to work with a beer, I would be fired.
And he literally left that with the free car.
Yeah. Well, no, that was when he gave it to Kessel, was it not?
Yeah, wasn't that the fantasy draft year?
Yeah. Yeah. Did Kessel give Ovi the car that year?
No, I think they did it. I think they did fantasy draft twice, didn't they? Ovi was like lobbying to be the last one. He's like, I want to be the last pick. I want the car.
Yeah. Yeah. Right. Like, come on. He drank on national television at work. You think that was the only drink he had that night? Come on. It's like, only one, I got to drive home.
He's definitely refilling between commercial breaks.
Yeah, exactly. So let's not pretend that it's work. They're out there, they're having fun. You have to show up for a few hours. But you can still have fun. They all bring their families with them. So if you want a nice family vacation, you got that too. Just show up. Like, show some respect. Give it to the fans. Give them what they want. We don't want this piss poor quality event that's being put on these days. Make it good. Stop giving us trash products.
I think the All-Star games lost some of the weight that used to be assigned to it. Like, it used to mean something to be a 2-time All-Star or 3-time All-Star. And I get the feeling that the players don't feel that way anymore. And I get the feeling that it's because they've now moved to this thing where you need to have one representative from every team. And then you let the fans vote in the last player for each team. Like, that to me is you're not picking the best players in the league. And like, we can draw on the Red Wings as an example. They said that. Tyler Bertuzzi said in an interview, like, obviously they had to pick someone from our team, so they picked me. But I don't deserve to go. Not when you look at the rest of the talent in the Atlantic Division. And I think the players feel that. And when they see fans vote, they're like, okay, that's nice, and I'll go for the fans, but like, I don't feel like a true NHL All-Star.
So your solution to fix this, to get players to go back, is just if your team's not good enough to get someone in, you don't get someone.
No, it's not even that. It's like, it can be based on individual performance, but I don't think that there's an all-star level performer on every team.
No, certainly not, right?
Yeah, so now we're shoehorning some like whatever middle six players in with the true best players in the league. And I think that's where the players lose some of the wind for it. Like, that's where they start to feel like it doesn't hold the same weight and honor that it used to. Like, Anthony Duclair is now an NHL All-Star. Like, when players get inducted into the Hall of Fame, the amount of All-Star game appearances is on their resume. Like, that's one of the things that the league uses.
Yeah.
They can't use that when it's being fan voted in.
Like, the fans loved you.
Yeah.
Well,
so I don't know. And I truly don't remember back in the days of like the Yzermans and Sakic's and Gretzky's and Messi's. Like, I don't remember back in those days, because I was a kid, if those games were truly competitive. I kind of feel like they weren't, because the scores were still like 13-12. So people still weren't really trying. It's not really best on best.
Yeah. But you don't have Tristan Jarry of the Pittsburgh Penguins being an all-star.
Yeah.
I can support that it's a diluted talent pool. So it's not actually the best players wanting to beat each other. It's some pretty good players wanting to beat each other.
Yeah. I don't know. And then I think the other side of it too is like, now only these players who are selected get to take part in the skills competition, even though the fastest skater is probably not an all-star, or the guy who has the hardest shot is probably not an all-star.
I mean, we both saw that Connor McDavid goal this week. And I think we all want to see him versus the player reportedly the second fastest in the league. And he is there. Nathan McKinnon is going to be at the All-Star game and at the skills competition, so we'll get that.
But the record holder for fastest skater not going to be there.
True. And I think that's dumb, because the NBA, they have their All-Star game the weekend after, and they just invite whoever. So they're like, look, the best 3-point shooters in the league might not be All-Stars, but we're having the 3-point shot. Let's bring him in. Yeah. We're having the dunk contest. Let's do it. Skills competition. And then they're bringing in Derek Rose is showing up for one of the events. It's like, he's not an all-star by any means, but he's going to be there because it's in Chicago. And if I'm wrong on this, we're not a basketball podcast, so who cares? But it's in Chicago, lifelong Bull or longtime Bull. And I'm just handing out lifelongs to everyone today.
Yeah, what's going on? It's on the tip of your tongue.
I really want people to really just commit to things. That's apparently what I want. And I'm fine with that. It's the skill. Like last year, I mean, and I love the fact they did it, right? They brought the ladies in for the skills competition.
Awesome
they
idea.
On it. Fantastic. You can do that with other NHLers too. They don't have to be, right? Do you think Dylan Larkin would have shown up if they said, hey, I know you want a vacation, but do you want to defend your title as the fastest man?
I think he'd be there in a second.
Yeah.
Because these guys are competitive, so make it competitive.
Yeah, absolutely. And you know what? You don't have to stick around for the rest of the weekend. You can leave. You can skate your way off the ice and be on the next flight out of town. Who cares?
That's it. Pop in and pop out.
Yeah.
Bring your skates.
I like that idea. Well, Nick, it is time for the Elimination Station.
Elimination Station.
This is the part of the show where we pick a team that's really bad and say you were eliminated from the playoffs. Nick has helped us out big time this year, and he has kept track of every team that we have already eliminated. I believe we're at 4 teams.
Okay, good. I have them all.
Okay, excellent.
I never, when we do it, I never remember if I wrote it down the week before.
Okay, well,
I got it, though.
Okay, so Nick's got 4 teams. I've also started writing them down, but Nick, can you confirm my list for us?
Absolutely. We've got first the Detroit Red Wings, second the Ottawa Senators, third the Los Angeles Kings, and fourth the Anaheim Ducks.
There we go, Nick. 4 teams eliminated. Only, mathing real quick here, only 11 more to go.
Good job.
Thank you. It required 2 things of math. I said, okay, there's 31 teams, minus 16, minus 4, and I got it. So
it's very fast.
You know what?
I guess you're a lifelong mather.
Yeah, you're not wrong, Nick. Luckily, here's how we can confirm that we haven't messed up too bad so far. The 4 teams, and they weren't in this point when we picked them.
No,
They're now the 4 bottom teams in the National Hockey League.
2 weeks ago and last week, because I've been pushing it off, the Devils were in 30th place.
It's true. And now
they're climbing the standings. Maybe we shouldn't yet.
Well, they did. They have won. And okay, I was going to fight. This makes the Ray Shero firing even worse. I was going to fight today for the New Jersey Devils to be in the Elimination Station. But
You're going to... Okay, go ahead. Finish.
I was going to say that they should be eliminated. And now I'm going to need you to pick a new team because I'm not going Devils tonight. Here's why. I've refused to pick a team that has won since the day before Christmas. They have beat the Blackhawks 7-1, the Toronto Maple Leafs 5-4, the Senators 4-3, the Islanders 2-1, the Washington Capitals and the Tampa Bay Lightning just this weekend by a combined score of 8-2. In the middle of those 2 games, they for some reason fired Ray Shero. I'm not picking the Devils. Are you?
I'm not picking the Devils, man. I'm waiting. I'm waiting this one out.
Which means I no longer feel comfortable with any of the teams left for me to pick.
Yeah, I mean, at this point, it's going to be a bold pick, I think.
I
think there's one team that's an easy pick, and the rest of them are all kind of like, I don't know, maybe not.
All right, on the count of 3, here's how we're going to do it. On the count of 3, we're both going to say the team we want to eliminate. Do you have it in your head?
Yes.
I have them pulled up on the count of 3. I'm even going to show it to you so that you can know that I can't. I'm not changing my mind. 1, 2, 3. Minnesota
Chicago
Wilds.
Blackhawks.
Okay, well.
We haven't agreed on anything all night. Why would we agree on this?
Okay, give me...
Okay. I'm fine with that. We can eliminate the Wild.
Okay. I mean, they're very similar, right? Like,
Yeah.
they're tied for 46 points. The Wild have one extra game in hand, which according to you is the thing that's tipped the scales, because they also have a goal differential that is one goal apart this season. They have both let in 150 goals. The Minnesota Wild have scored one extra goal than the Chicago Blackhawks. They're essentially the same team, Nick.
Holy crap, you're right. It's crazy. Okay, well, let's start with Minnesota.
Okay, this week, welcome to the Elimination Station, the Minnesota Wild. And now that we're here, our goal is to fix them.
Oh. Do we have 8 years?
I mean, they do, because there's only 8 years left on the Suter and Parise deals.
That should have been one of our bold predictions for the decade.
That those deals will end.
Yes.
And there is actually less than 8 years left on them somehow. I mean, they have lasted since, because they were signed a week before the last lockout. They were one of the last deals signed.
Yeah.
Before their deals became illegal.
Yeah.
So Zach Parise has a mere, Nick, only 5 more years left after this one on those 2 deals.
Oh my goodness.
So outside of that, what do you do with this team?
I don't know, but I'm just looking at their points so far, and their top 3 point getters are a combined age of 105 years old.
Ooh, can I pick?
Yeah.
Okay. Eric Stahl.
Yeah.
Max Zuccarello. No, he's too young to make that work. Miku Koivu.
No, but good guess.
I'm gonna go with Max. Mats.
No.
Wow. Okay. Well, it's Eric Stahl and 2 others.
It's the 2 guys that you just talked about.
Parise and Suter are 2nd and 3rd on this team in points.
Yeah.
Wow. Good for them.
Yeah.
I mean, it's a safe assumption that Zach Parise has been hurt the entire season, so I just assumed he had 0 points.
He has played in 45 games.
Good for him, which is all of their games this season.
All of their games. He's played in every single one.
Which, as much as I give him, a rough time about, rightfully so, and, it's, you don't want to make fun of someone's health, but when you're talking about a contract and how to fix a team, having that much money for that long tied up in someone who barely plays, it's nice that he's been able to play.
Yeah. And he's got 14 goals, which really isn't bad for a kid his age.
Yeah, at the ripe old age of 35. Man, all 3 of those guys are 35, eh?
Yeah.
Look at that.
Yeah. This team is old. Koivu's 36. Yeah.
But see, and that's the thing. His deal's done after this year, at least.
Yes.
And it's only it's $5.5 million for him. You've got Victor Rask, which is, hindsight, terrible trade.
Yeah.
They've got him for 3 more years. You've got Jason Zucker. You've got him tied up long 3 more years. Zook, you just signed him to a deal, which now has him here for 4 more years. And
I
then
hate that Zuccarello deal.
Which one do you hate more? Let's play worst deal on the Wild that's not Parise and Suter.
Okay.
So we'll start with Zuccarello versus Jared Spurgeon.
I knew you were going to go there. I think Zuccarello.
Wow. So.
Oh, no. Definitely Spurgeon. I was looking at his current cap hit, not future cap hit.
Yeah.
Jared Spurgeon, definitely.
So he's got another 7.5. Just signed a brand new deal. Yeah.
Yeah, that's not good.
Spurgeon versus Victor Rask.
I think I still hate Spurgeon more.
Spurgeon or Jason Zucker?
Spurgeon.
And here's the thing. This is how the Minnesota Wild are going to fix themselves. Those are the only deals that extend past next year that aren't Ryan Parise and Zack Parise and Ryan Suter.
There you go.
I mean, they're the same. They're brothers. They're twins at this point.
Pretty much. I don't think the Jason Zucker deal contract is that bad. I just think it's bad for this team.
Yeah.
Does that make sense?
Kind of. Elaborate.
Well, I think he's the kind of player who is worth $5.5 million, but it would look better on a team that he can be useful for.
Kind of like I want to say it wasn't Bobby Holik. He was like, I'm a great player if I'm your second liner.
Yeah.
And then when the Rangers paid him first line money, he's like, well, I'm not a first line player, so you probably shouldn't pay me that much money.
Yeah. Like Jason Zucker at $5.5 million. Do you think that would be a good deal on the Penguins?
Absolutely.
I do too. There's probably other teams that would be a good deal on.
Yeah.
You think it would be a good deal for the Stars?
I'd love that Jason Zucker deal on the Avalanche.
Yeah. Like, I don't think it's a bad contract. I just think it's a bad contract for the Wild.
Yeah. Yeah, I can support that. So the Wild, they have, a poor showing last year. And I'm trying to recall right now where they picked in the draft. But they'll be picking, they are currently eliminated, so they will be in the draft lottery.
Mm-hmm.
And did you not pick them to pick second last week when you were doing the old...
On the Tankathon?
Yeah.
Probably, because I'm pretty sure the Red Wings got avalanched.
The Red Wings did get avalanched. The Ducks were picking first. I remember that much.
Yeah.
I want to say the Sabres picked third.
Yeah, probably.
Someone else picked second.
Minnesota. Should we run another one? See how Minnesota...
Let's do it. Where's Minnesota drafting this year?
All right, Sim Lottery. Boop. Los Angeles, number 1. Detroit, number 2. Chicago, number 3. Minnesota falls to 10.
Okay, so that's not a very good draft pick.
No.
I mean, it's fine. I believe that is where the Avalanche picked... is that... No. I was going to say that's where they picked Mikko Rantanen.
No, they picked him higher than that, I think.
I don't want to say. Anyway, sometimes some talent can fall to 10. Nonetheless, you get some good draft picks. You start to fix the team. You move out some of these bad contracts and stop signing them.
Yeah, that's the key. Just stop.
And you've got, right, like the last GM was so bad, I don't even remember his name. But we knew the tales of his terrible GMiness. Thanks, Paul Fenton. There you go.
Yeah.
And so now we got Bill Guerin in charge there, and we will see how much better he is. I mean, he is the one who signed that Jared Spurgeon deal. So
it's like the first thing he did.
Yeah, not a good look. So there you go. Welcome to the Elimination Station, Minnesota. Nick is having fresh beverages delivered to him while he records.
It's pretty nice, eh?
Is there
I live a good life.
Is there a way that can happen to me? I mean, you're going full All-Star game on us right now.
Yeah. You're giving away a car at the end of this, right? That's my reward for participating.
Last host standing on the show gets a car. Well, Nick, do we want to pick our must-watch games of the week? Let's wrap up the show with some of that. Let everyone know the games that they should be watching this week. We talked last week. I believe our must-watch game for Sunday was the Toronto Maple Leafs 8-4 loss to the Florida Panthers.
That was a crazy game. I mean, the Leafs looked awful.
Uh-huh. Yep. That sounds about right. I mean, they were down 7-1 and then mounted a mighty comeback at the end of that game. So,
yeah, crazy game. Anyways, see, that was a good game to watch.
Did you watch it?
We watched some of it.
Okay. All right. Tuesday night, January the 14th. I mean, we've got the Devils. Are they going to be able to beat the Leafs again?
I don't know, but we should find out since we talked so much about them this week.
Okay. There's that. Minnesota Wild play the Penguins. That's not a game you should watch. I think that's a game. Predators Oilers is the other one I'm looking at that night.
Yeah. Yeah, that'd be a good one too.
Only 2 games on Thursday. And by Thursday, I mean Wednesday. Are you watching either of them?
If I had to watch one of them, I would watch Philadelphia St. Louis.
That is the correct answer. I mean, Montreal did snap their losing streak, so that's good.
I care very close to 0 about Montreal.
It's on. If it wasn't the fact that I had some Montreal Canadiens fans very close to me, like relationship wise, like a cousin and a brother-in-law and etc.
Oh my goodness.
I wouldn't know that they existed. Yeah. Which is probably quite evident on this show with how little we talk about the Canadians.
We really don't talk about them that much.
No. I mean, so I don't know what happened. I just saw some very brief things about the Battle of New York was getting a little feisty tonight. A rematch on Wednesday. Thursday. Man, my days are a struggle. It's been a lifelong struggle with days for me, Nick.
It's been a lifelong day. Yeah, let's do the Battle of New York on Thursday.
Yeah. Other great games, Boston, Pittsburgh. That would be a good one to check out. And that's probably it. If you want to see how good the Wild are, you can watch them play the Lightning. Friday night, is this Friday? January 17th is Friday, correct?
It is a Friday.
Okay. We've got 3 games.
Mm-hmm. One of which is a Stanley Cup final rematch.
Has Jimmy Howard actually have a record of 2-15-1 this year?
He's so bad, dude.
Nick, I'm sorry. I know I give you a hard time sometimes. You deserve better than that, though.
He's so bad.
But if you're watching a game on Friday, you should be watching Tampa and Winnipeg.
Yeah, agreed.
Saturday, the classic Saturday, a great afternoon game. The Blues and the Avalanche, 1:00.
That will be a good game, actually.
Yeah.
Carl's bias aside, that will be a good game.
Yes. I mean, if you want more unbiased Carl opinion, the Capitals play before that. You can watch the Capitals and the Islanders. Don't watch that, though. The Islanders are the most boring team to watch in the NHL. To the point when watching, because they played the Avalanche last Tuesday, I want to say. The Avalanche broadcast literally called it the most boring first period of hockey they'd watched all season. They couldn't even hide it.
Yeah. When you're getting paid to watch the games and you don't even want to watch them.
Exactly. It's not good.
Yeah.
Anything else that good that day?
Edmonton, Arizona might be good.
Yeah, that could be good.
The matchups aren't great Saturday.
I mean, we'll have Zack Kassian back. Let's see who he could pick the fight with. Maybe him versus Taylor Hall.
Yeah, I mean, I like it.
We will get to listen to the Taylor Hall Edmonton Oiler saga that day, so we'll get that.
I'm sure that'll be a big talking point.
Absolutely, and we actually have two pretty good games on Sunday.
Let's see if I can get this right. One of which will be Boston, Pittsburgh.
And that's at 10:30 a.m. So what time does football start that day? 1:00. So you can watch that game before football. And the other one is during football. So you're out of luck there. But
the other one is Islanders, Hurricanes.
Those are my thoughts.
See, I know things.
Yeah, me and you, we're pretty much the same. We have to get our agreements out of the way now.
Yeah.
So that we can disagree all summer long. It's going to be great. Well, Nick, that is our must-watch games of the week. You can join in. Full disclosure, I'm wanting something different with high sticking, and I'm not torn on I'm not sold on what it is yet. But until then, we're still playing the classic high sticking that we've done all season long, where you send us your picks, and we have a forward, a defenseman, a goalie, and we do that. People seem to like the weekly games, so I'd like stick with something like that. But
all right, well, let's talk about it this week.
We might be up for some changes this week. Who knows?
All right, I like it.
But I did send out some stuff, and I found, actually, for those who are still listening to the show, we always talk about, people turn off. I found a stack of coasters, but they're like the defects from the manufacturer.
Oh, yeah.
And so they have like their Fourth Line podcast wooden coasters. You have one.
Yeah.
I don't know if you hold it up like I hold up my puck, but
I do have it.
there you go. It's right there. Looking great. And you can tell Nick uses that. There are some coffee rings on there. It's looking good. Mine also has some coffee rings on it. Mostly just because I spill coffee a lot. That's my problem here. They're nice wooden coasters. They're a great coaster. Love them. But I found some that have like a little bit of a line or some etching in them. If you want a coaster that's like not perfect, send us a message, a DM, an email, mail at thefourthlinepodcast.com. We'll send those off to you. You don't even have to win high sticking for this one. Just stick to the end of the show. That's all you got to do. Just be here. And I think I have like 8. So first come, first serve on those.
Perfect.
Anyways, you can do that on Twitter at Fourth Line Podcast. You can email us, mail at thefourthlinepodcast.com, facebook.com/the Fourth Line Podcast. Literally, the only reason I ever go on Facebook these days is for the podcast. So that's great. I'll head on over there, check the messages, and then leave. I've missed 2 people's birthday parties who invited me on Facebook because I don't go on it.
Yeah, right? That happens to me too.
Well, nonetheless, I tried to make it to one, and it's minus 40 outside, and so my garage door was frozen shut. So,
oh my goodness.
I didn't.
It's not that cold here. We're luckier in Toronto.
Yeah, I know.
Closer to 0.
Yeah, lucky dogs. Well, you can do that, and you can head on over to the Alberta Podcast Network, Nick. And what's great about the shows over there is they are not only great Alberta shows, they're great shows in general. One of them in particular, Epic Podcast, currently winner of silver, the silver medal, Nick, in the Canadian Online Publishing Awards in the business division. So we've got that. We also have Speaking Municipally, gold in the consumer division. We've got award-winning content over there at the Alberta Podcast Network. You do not want to miss out on those. Go check out those 2 shows as well as all the other ones over there. And until next week, we'll see you later. Enjoy the must-watch games of the week. Enjoy your week of hockey.
It's time for us to wrap up another Fourth Line show. I know what you're thinking. You don't want us to go. Stay warm if you're in Calgary. And don't go to Edmonton because Zack, Kassian's scary.